Hi everyone, this is Selena. Welcome back to one of my videos. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name's Selena and I release a crochet tutorial every week. So in this week's tutorial, I'm really excited to release this boho bag. I absolutely adore it. It's super easy to crochet. It features the beautiful Sunburst Granny Square design that we then sew together to create this bag, and I love the pastel colours. I think this bag has a really lovely boho vibe that I absolutely adore, and I'm definitely going to be using it this summer. So I'm really excited to show you how to crochet this bag step by step. As always, the free pattern can be found on my blog selenaveronique.com, along with plenty of photographs, so don't forget to check that out. All of this will be linked in the down bar. I will also be linking in the down bar all the products that I've used to create this project. So for this project, I used Paintbox yarns, and this is Paintbox Cotton Aran, and I absolutely love this yarn. It's so pretty and beautiful. I could not recommend it enough. And I used shade Macaron Green. I think this is Candyfloss Pink, and this is Banana Cream. But don't worry, I will be linking all of these details on my blog and also in the down bar, so check that out. I also used a 4mm crochet hook and a 4.5mm crochet hook. You will also be needing a tapestry needle and a pair of scissors, and also if you want to create your tassel, which I absolutely adore, just a book. So this is my pattern book, and I just used it to wrap my yarn around to create the tassel. So again, all the details will be in the down bar, so don't worry about that. So I hope you enjoy this easy tutorial. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment to my channel. I would also like to thank all my patrons for their support on Patreon. It really means the world to me. And I will be using US terms with British terms in brackets. And I hope you enjoy this fun summary tutorial. Okay, so I'm going to be showing you how to make this Sunburst Granny Square in this part of the tutorial. So yes, so obviously I've used 3 colours. So the pink, the green and the yellow, and the pink again. Obviously all of the details about the yarn will be listed in the down bar and on my blog. So I'm just going to jump into this tutorial. So to begin your Sunburst Granny Square, you will be creating the first section, and so to do that you will be making a slip knot, popping your hook through this slip knot and chaining 4. So 1, 2, 3 and 4, and once you've chained 4 you will be slip stitching through that first chain that we did. So just pop your hook through, pull your yarn through that loop and then pull it through the other loop, and you see we have created a circle into which we will be working. For this part you could also use a magic circle. I tried both and I did prefer this technique, but that's entirely up to you. So now that you've created your circle, you will be chaining 3. So 1, 2 and 3, and this counts as your first double crochet. Now what we are going to be doing is working into this circle, and we will be placing 15 double crochets inside this circle, so that we have 16 double crochets in total, as this counts as a double crochet. So now what you are going to be doing to create a double crochet is wrapping your yarn around your hook, going into that center. I will be fastening in my loose end as I go. Pull up a loop. You've got 3 loops on your hook. Take your yarn, pull through 2 loops, and take your yarn and pull through 2 loops, and that creates a double crochet. Now repeat this process once again, and again, and obviously you can see that I'm fastening in my loose end as I go, and this is very important for this section because once we've finished this this part, we will be pulling on this loose end to close off this circle and make it look neat. So we have 4 double crochets now, so just go ahead and place 12 more double crochets into this center. And then I'll get back to you to show you what to do next. So you should have 16 double crochets total. So here we go. I've done my 16 double crochets. Now you are going to be slip stitching through the chain 3 that we did at the beginning, like this. So slip stitch through that. And now, because we are going to be switching colors, you will be fastening off and leave a long tail for sewing, a longish tail. I always like to leave a bit more just in case I need to sew it in. And this is what it looks like. And what you will be doing is gently pulling on that loose end here to close off the center, and I'm just going to leave this loose end for now because I am going to be sewing it in properly at the end just to make sure this part doesn't come loose. Okay, so now we are going to be attaching the next yarn. For me, this is a green yarn, and I am going to be choosing any stitch, but I am going to be choosing this stitch because I will be fastening in the loose ends as I go, and I just find it easier to do both loose ends at once. So I'm just going to attach this like that and do 1 simple knot. And obviously this is my way of doing a Sunburst Granny Square. I think there are lots of different ways, but this is just my my pattern. Okay, so once you've attached your yarn, just pull up a loop like that and chain 1. And now that we've chained 1, we are going to be working inside this stitch still. So we are going to be making a puff stitch, and also this is a petal. So just wrap your yarn around your hook, go back into this stitch, pull up a loop, and what we are going to be doing is pulling on this slightly just to give this this stitch some height. So just pull on this so that it goes a bit high. Now wrap your yarn around, and we're not going to be finishing this double crochet, so you are just going to be leaving this like that. Now you are going to wrap your yarn around your hook, go back into the stitch, pull up a loop, and once again pull on this so that it has a bit of height. Now wrap your yarn around your hook, go back in and pull up a loop once again, and this is the 3rd time we've done this, and we are going to complete this stitch by doing this a 4th time. And so pull this up like that. So we've gone in 4 times. So now to complete this stitch, you are going to take your yarn and pull through all of the stitches, and now you are going to be chaining 1, and this is our first petal. Okay, so now that you've completed 1 petal, you are going to go into the next petal. You are going to be going into the next stitch with the next petal. So we've just chained 1, and now what we are going to be doing is going directly into the next stitch with a double crochet. So wrap your yarn around your hook, go into that stitch and pull up a loop. And as you can see, we've got 3 loops on the hook. Now wrap your yarn around your hook, go back in and pull up a loop. And obviously we are pulling this up as we did last time. Go back in a 3rd time and pull up a loop. And go back in a 4th time and pull up a loop. And now what we are going to be doing is taking our yarn and pulling through all stitches once again and chaining 1. And this is our 2nd petal. Now we are going to be going into the next stitch to do the next petal. So once again, just wrap your yarn around your hook and go into the next stitch. And obviously I am fastening in my loose ends and pull up a loop like this. Pull up the yarn, I mean. Now go back in a 2nd time and pull up the yarn. Now go back in a 3rd time and pull up your yarn. And go back in a 4th time and pull up your yarn. And now take your yarn and pull through all of the stitches, chain 1. And if you turn your project over, you can see the puff stitches, the puff petals starting to take shape. So now you are going to be doing this into each and every stitch across, so you should have 16 petals in total. So wrap your yarn around your hook and go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, go back into the next stitch and pull up. So that's the 2nd time. Go back in a 3rd time and pull up your yarn, and 4th time and pull up your yarn. Take your yarn and pull through all of the stitches, chain 1, and this is what we have. So I'm just going to let you do this into each and every stitch across. You should have 16 petals in total, and I'll get back to show you how to do the next steps. Okay, so I'm back and I've finished this part. As you can see, almost finished this row. So I've placed my 16 puff stitches and 16 petals, and what I am going to be doing now is completing this round by popping my hook into the first stitch that we did, or just any stitch really, onto that first petal and slip stitch to close off this round. So this is what we have for now, and I'm really excited about how this project looks. I will be snipping off my yarn to change colours. I think this is the nicest part of the Sunburst Granny Square, is that changing colours just makes this project so special. So now that we've fastened off the green, we are going to be fastening on the yellow. Obviously, the best part also of Sunburst Granny Square is that you can fasten on any colour that you prefer. Okay, so now for this 3rd round, what we are going to be doing is obviously fastening on our yarn, but also what we will be doing is working on top of each petal. So as you can see, there is a stitch attached, well, not attached, but on top of each petal there is a stitch, and we are going to be working into each and every one of those stitches. So that basically means working into the top of the petal, then skipping a chain, then working into the top of the next petal and so on. Obviously I'm going to go through this in detail, but it's just so that you know. So we are going to be attaching our yarn on top of a petal. I am going to attach it on top of this one, just because once again I find it easier to tie in both loose ends as we go, but this is by no means an obligation. So this is what it looks like. And now what we are going to be doing is popping our hook through once again, pull up your yarn and chain 1. And what we are going to be doing now is wrapping our yarn around our hook, going into this same stitch here, pull up a loop. And we are not going to be pulling up like we did this time, just this is a double crochet and it's a normal double crochet, so don't pull up your yarn for extra height. What we are going to be doing is not finishing our double crochet. We are going to take our yarn and pull through 2 loops, and usually to finish off a double crochet you would take your yarn and pull through the 2 other loops, but we're not going to be doing that. We are going to be leaving this double crochet unfinished. Wrap your yarn around your hook, go in back into that same stitch, pull up your yarn and take your yarn and pull through 2 loops once again, and you've got 3 loops on your hook. Take your yarn and go back in for a 3rd time. And now you are going to be taking your yarn and going through 2 loops. And now take your yarn and go back into that stitch here, pull up, and this time, so we've been in 4 times. Now what we are going to be doing to finish off this stitch is take your yarn and pull through all loops. So just, it's hard to do this on camera. Obviously it's harder than in person. There we go. So I've pulled through all of those loops, and now I'm going to chain 2, 1 and 2. And what we are going to be doing now is going into the next petal. So obviously skip this part and go into the top stitch of the next petal and wrap your yarn around your hook and go in as if you are going in with a double crochet, pull up your yarn. Obviously, as I said, we are not going to be pulling up any extra length for extra height. So now just take your yarn and pull through just 2 loops. Now wrap your yarn around your hook and go back in a 2nd time and repeat this. Go through 2 loops, go back in a 3rd time, pull up a loop, go back and go through these 2 loops. Now go in a 4th time, pull up a loop, and now go through all of the 4, well not 4, but this is the 4th stitch, and go through all of the loops left on your hook, chain 2. So I hope that was clear. I don't think I expressed myself properly for this stitch, so I do apologize. I am French and sometimes my brain just freezes with English. So I'm just going to show you once again what we need to do. So we are going to once again go into the top of the next petal. So skip this stitch here and just go into the top of the next petal. Wrap your yarn around your hook. Go into that stitch, pull up your yarn. Now that you've pulled up your yarn, take your yarn and pull through 2 loops. And you are not going to finish this double crochet. Instead, you are going to wrap your yarn around your hook again and go in once again. So that's the 2nd time. Take your yarn and go through 2 loops. Go in a 3rd time, pull up a loop. Take your yarn and go through 2 loops once again and go in a 4th time, and take your yarn and go through all of these loops left on your hook, chain 2, And this is what this looks like for now. So if you turn your project round, this is what it looks like. So just do this. I'm just going to let you carry this on for each and every petal. So you should have, once again, 16 petals, once again on top of each petal from the previous row. So if you need more help with this part of the video, just rewind the video and look at what I've done, and I'm just going to let you carry this on until you have the 16 petals, and then I'll show you how to finish off this round. Okay, so I've been all the way around and placed all of my petals on top of my petals, and I'm simply going to go into the top of the first petal to close off this this round. Obviously I chained 2 prior to this, and now I've slip stitched to the top of this stitch. Fasten off and pull your loose end through to tie a knot, and this is what we have for now, and this will be the front of the project. Obviously please ignore all the loose ends, but this is an absolutely beautiful project for now. I'm really enjoying it. So now for the next round, the next round we are going to be using the pink again, which is the center color, and just go ahead and place, take your yarn and pull through this stitch, take your yarn and attach it like that with a knot. And now what we are going to do is working inside the center stitches here. So we are not going to be working into the petals or anything like that. We are going to be working into the spaces here. So just attach your yarn into one of those spaces. It doesn't matter which space, as a matter of fact. And now just take your yarn and pull up a loop and chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. And this counts as your first double crochet. Now what you are going to be doing is placing 2 more double crochets inside that space, so 1 and 2, so that it creates a cluster of 3 double crochets. And this is the round which will be creating our square. So at the moment we are creating the square in this pattern. Okay, so now that you've done this, for this round we are not tying in the loose ends because there are too many. It would look strange because of all the spaces that we will be having. So you've just done your cluster of 3 double crochets. Now skip this petal and go directly into the next space. And in this next space you will be placing 3 treble crochets. So to create your treble crochets, just wrap your yarn twice around your hook, go into this space, pull up your yarn, take your yarn and pull through 2 loops, take your yarn and pull through 2 loops, and take your yarn and pull through 2 loops. And that creates a treble crochet. Now do this again, place another treble crochet inside that space, and another treble crochet inside that space, chain 2, 1 and 2, and place 3 treble crochets once again inside that space. So just go ahead and place 3 more treble crochets inside that space, and I'll be going over this part in just a second once we've finished it. And another treble crochet. And now I'm going to explain this part. So this part is going to be the corner of our square. So that means that for the corners, and we will obviously have 4 corners, we will be placing 3 treble crochets, 2 chains, 3 treble crochets inside that space. And so into the next space here, so skip this petal and go into the next space and place 3 double crochets. So this time it's just simple double crochets, and you are going to be placing 3 of those. So 1, 2, and 3. And you are going to skip a petal and go into the next space with 3 double crochets once again. 1, 2. Sorry, I just need to my yarn. So 2 and 3 double crochets. So now we've got 2 clusters of 3 double crochets. Skip a petal and go into the next space with 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And so now that we've placed, so as you can see, we've placed a corner, which is 3 treble crochets, chain 2, 3 treble crochets, and now 3 clusters of 3 double crochets. So once we've placed those 3 clusters, we are going to go into the next space here and place another corner. So you are going to be placing 3 trebles once again. So 1, 2, 3 trebles, chain 2, 1 and 2, and place another 3 trebles into that space. 1, 2, and 3 trebles. And this is what it looks like. So as you can see, our square is looking squarer and squarer, if I can say that. So I hope this pattern is making sense to you. So now in the next 3 spaces, so this space, that space, and that space, we will be placing clusters of 3 double crochets, 2, 3, and then go into the next space, 1, 2, and 3, and go into the next space with 1, 2, and 3. So there we go. So I've placed our clusters of 3 double crochets, and now we've reached the next corner. And in this corner, obviously, we will be placing 3 treble crochets, chain 2, 3 treble crochets, and then obviously you will be repeating this process again of 3 clusters of double crochets, and then another corner, which is 3 treble crochets, chain 2, 3 treble crochets, and then once you reach the last corner, I will get back to you to show you how to finish off this round. So I hope this makes sense. I'll let you carry this round on. So don't forget, we've placed our 3 clusters of double crochets, and now in the next space you will be placing a corner, and then 3 clusters of double crochets and another corner, and then I'll get back to you once you reach this part. Okay, so I'm back and I've placed a corner, 3 clusters, and then another corner, and as you can see, this is really creating the square shape that we want. And obviously now what we are going to be doing is placing our 2 last clusters, and the reason why we only have 2 left is because we've already placed one at the beginning. We placed a cluster of 3, and the reason we started with a cluster of 3 is my personal preference. I just think it looks nicer. I did some tests and I started with corners, and I just found the project didn't look as nice. So I hope I'm making sense. So yes, so we've got 2 clusters of 3 double crochets left. So just go into the next space and place 3 double crochets. So there we go, we finished our square almost. So I've placed my 2 last clusters, and obviously this is another cluster, so that's 3 clusters in total. Just slip stitch through that chain 3 at the top that we did. There you go, and this is our square finished. Just fasten off like you usually would. So just go ahead and fasten off. And I'm just going to take a couple of minutes to show you how to fasten in the center. So now I'm just going to flip this over, and I am going to be tightening this center part once again, popping my needle through, and I'm just going to go into this center gently, obviously, just to sew in this loose end quite well. So unfortunately I've cut my loose end a bit. My loose end is a bit short, which is why I always say leave a longer loose end, but that's okay. As you can see, I'm still sewing it in quite well. So once you've done that, you are going to snip this off. Obviously make sure you don't snip off a stitch as you are doing this. And now you are simply going to find all your other loose ends. This has been sewed in quite well, so I'm not going to sew it in more. I'm just going to snip it off. Okay, and let's hunt for loose ends. These 2 also have been sewed in quite well, so just pull on them gently and then snip them off. And now just sew these in like you usually would. So I'm just going to show you briefly how I do this. So these are the stitches that haven't been sewed in very well, and I'm just going to take my needle and go through some stitches gently with this yarn, just to sew in my loose ends. So I'm just going to do this for all the loose ends on this project, and I'm going to let you do this for each and every square, and obviously we will be needing 8 squares in total for this project. So just go ahead and fasten in make all your squares, and then fasten in all the loose ends, and then I'll show you the next step of this project. So I'm back and I've done I have my 8 squares. So as you can see, I'm really excited. So I'm going to place 4 squares to the side, and what we are going to be doing now is sewing these squares in. So yeah, I'm really excited. So to do this, you are going to take your yarn and pop it I've taken a piece of yarn that's quite long. You can take any length that you want. I just decided to have it quite long. I'm going to attach it to one of the corners of one of the squares like this. So I should have just done this off camera, but never mind. Please bear with me. So just attach your yarn like this. And I just do one knot, because otherwise I think that it looks a bit clumpy, if that makes sense. And we are going to be starting by seaming this seam here. So to do this, just go into the second square here and pull your yarn through. Okay, this is the loose end. And I am going to be using the mattress stitch, so I'm just going to zoom in a teeny bit and show you how to do this. So for the mattress stitch, you can use whichever stitch that you prefer. And also, I forgot to say that you should be choosing your the right side and the wrong side. So you should be choosing the side of the puff stitches, and they should all be on the same side. So that's the prettiest side of your square. So just choose whichever side the prettiest side is of each square and place them all facing the same way, so that when you sew them together, your bag will look amazing, if that makes sense. So for the mattress stitch, I've just the technique is quite simple. You are just going to go from one side to the other, so from one square to the other in this case, just because it gives a more seamless stitch. So I'm just going to go through this square now like this, and I am going through a stitch, if that makes sense, just so that it looks nice and neat. And now you are going to go through the other side like this. Okay, my yarn is really, my piece of yarn is really long. And into the other side. So you are just going to go from one side to the other. So I hope this is making sense. I'm just going to let you sew the project in until you reach the top of this square, and then I'll show you what to do next. So just sew this seam in. So I'm back, and I've just sewed these two squares together. As you can see, I've just reached the top, and because I still have some loose end left, I'm just going to attach this to this square and start sewing this square on that side like this. So again, I am using the mattress stitch, so I'll show you on camera once again. So just go ahead and sew this part of the square in. So attach this square to the project, and I'll get back to you once I reach this side to show you how to fasten off. So I'm back, and I've attached this square, and I've reached the side, and once that you've reached the side, just go ahead and secure your yarn as best you can. And I'm simply going to tie a knot. So as you can see, I've created a loop. Okay, so now you can you can just fasten off. Now you've created your knot and you've made sure it's secure. Just fasten off your yarn, and we'll look after that loose end later. And now you are just simply going to be sewing this square onto the project. So what I am going to be doing is taking another piece of yarn to do this, and what I will be doing is attaching it to this corner here. So I'm going to start sewing here, so that when I reach this part, I can simply go up and sew this part in easily. So just make sure your piece of yarn is long enough to do that. Attach your yarn like I showed you, and I'll get back to you once you've done that. And you can also do both sides of the bag, so you can sew in your second side. And yeah, then I'll get back to you once you've sewed all your squares together on both sides. So yeah, and then I'll get back to you to show you how to finish off this project. Hi guys, so I'm back and I've sewed my squares together. So as you can see, I've got both sides of my bag, and now what we are going to be doing to finish off this part before sewing the whole bag together is to create a single crochet border. I'm just going to move this all along this edge here. And for this part I will be using a 4.5mm crochet hook. So I'm going up half a size of crochet hook, just because I think that when you add a single crochet edging, it does tighten the project slightly. So I always go up a crochet hook or half a crochet hook. So I'm just simply going to attach the yarn, and for this part I've decided to go back to my yellow shade. So you can choose whichever shade you prefer, but I've just decided to go with the yellow shade. So I've attached my yarn. I'm just going to place my project like this, and I'm just going to zoom in slightly just because it'll be easier for you to follow. So I've attached my yarn on the corner, and for the corner what we will be doing is taking the yarn and chaining one. This does not count as a stitch, and what we will be doing for this corner and each corner going forward is place a single crochet. So to place your single crochet, just take your yarn and pull up a loop, and take your yarn and go through 2 loops, and that creates a single crochet. Chain 2, 1 and 2, and place another single crochet inside the corner. There you go. And that's your corner. And I am going to be fastening in my loose end as I go. So now I'm just simply going to be placing a single crochet into each and every stitch across. And as you can see, this is quite easy because each stitch is clearly defined. Just make sure that you do not have too tight of a gauge, because again, we don't want to tighten this project. We simply want to create a nice even stitch, just to create a nice so it just evens out the project before we start sewing it together. So just go across this part, and then once you reach the corner here, just repeat the same process that I just showed you. Place a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, and then just go across each and every stitch, and once again at the corner here, single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, and so on, and just go all the way around, and then I'll show you once you reach the beginning how to finish off and fasten off. So here we go. I've reached I've gone all the way around. As you can see, I'm really pleased with how this looks, and now I'm back at where I started. I've placed my last single crochet, and what I am going to do is slip stitch through this stitch here, like so. And yeah, this is what we have. We are going to be fastening off and pulling our yarn through like so, and this is what we have. So just do the same thing on the other side, and I'll get back to you to show you how to finish off this beautiful, beautiful bag. Okay, so I'm back and I've created both my rows of single crochets. I'm really excited. What we are going to be doing now is sewing the project together. So both of these sides that are facing us are my right sides, and that means that's the side that's going to be facing outwards and not inside the bag. So I want to sew my project together, so I'm going to switch this like that, facing down, and I'm going to pop this side on top like this. So now that you've placed your bag in such a way that you know which is going to be the outside and the inside of the bag, I'm going to kind of flip this over like that. So I don't know if you've seen what I've done. Just so that I've just flipped it inside out, and I am going to be sewing it in, and then once I've sewed it in, I will be turning it inside out once again, just so that the outside is facing the outside. I hope I'm making sense. But yeah, so this is the inside out of your bag, basically. So make sure that you choose the side, the sides that you want facing in or out of the bag, and then make sure that once you start your sewing, it's the inside of the bag that you're sewing in, so that when you turn it inside out, it's the right side facing. Okay, but this is just detail. To be honest, I'm not sure it makes such a massive difference. This is just nitpicking. So yeah, both sides are more or less identical anyways, so I wouldn't get too stressed out over this part. Just keep it simple. So as you can see, I've just attached my yarn, and I am, once again, because this is my favorite stitch, I am going to be using the mattress stitch to sew this project in. So once again, just use your mattress stitch and sew this together. And I'm just going to let you do this. So you are going to be going all the way down here, and then that way, and then up again. And obviously this part will be the top of the bag and the opening of the bag. So yeah, so I'll just let you carry this on. So I'm just going to zoom in a teeny bit just to show you what I'm doing as a stitch once again, because it's been asked of me a few times to show the sewing part in more detail, so that people who are not used to sewing can understand this part better. So yeah, so just sew this in. So as you can see, I'm just going into one side and then going into the other side directly, and there you go. Just go in and out, and then I'll meet you back once you've finished this sewing. Hi guys, so I'm back and I've sewed in my project. I fastened off on this side, and you can see the opening of the bag is here. My bag is still inside out. And what I am going to be doing now is adding the handles. So to add the handles, I am going to locate a stitch, so a cluster of stitches on both sides, and this is going to be very easy for this project because you will be locating the first cluster of 3 double crochets. So obviously this is the corner here with treble crochet, so just ignore that and just go onto the next cluster of 3 double crochets and fasten on your yarn at that point. So just go ahead and fasten on your yarn. So just attach it. Remember, this is the inside of your bag. So now that you've done that, just go through any stitch once again. I am going to zoom in a bit. So there we go. I've just gone into a stitch. I'm going to chain 1, and now I am going to be chaining. Okay, so we are going to be chaining 68. I've just done that because I'm just going to de-zoom for a second because I wanted that length of a handle for each side. So I've just gone ahead and chained 68. What I am going to do now is make sure my chain isn't twisted in any way. So make sure your chain isn't twisted, and you are going to be attaching it to that same stitch here. So this is the cluster of 3, but on the other side of the project. So there you go, just attach it. So to attach it, just go through the stitches, take your yarn and pull through and slip stitch. Obviously this is a teeny bit tricky. There we go, slip stitch. And now you've attached your handle. Make sure it's not twisted. Mine's not twisted. And now what we are going to be doing is creating a row of double crochets on top of this chain. So yes, what you are going to be doing is chaining 3, 1, 2 and 3. I'm actually going to turn this around like this because it will be easier to crochet. Let me just zoom in. So there we go. We will probably have to go back into that stitch later. Okay, so now that you've chained 68 and you've attached your yarn on the other side, you are going to be chaining 2, 1 and 2. And this counts as a half double crochet. I'm just going to turn my project round because it will be easier to crochet. Sorry about that. I'm just going to find the right way to do this. Okay, now you are going to be placing half double crochets all the way along this chain. So to half double crochet, wrap your yarn around your hook, go into the next chain, pull up a loop. You've got 3 loops on your hook. Take your yarn and go through all 3 loops. Now go into the next chain and place another half double crochet into that. And into the next chain and place a half double crochet into that. And into the next chain and place a half double crochet into that, and into the next chain and the next, and just go ahead and place half double crochets all the way around, all along this chain, and then I'll show you what to do next. Okay, so I'm back, and as you can see, I've gone all the way around with my half double crochets. So I'm really pleased with how this looks. What I am going to be doing now is securing it quite well. So securing this. So I'm just going to go into any stitch here on the side and slip stitching like so. And fastening off. I've left a long tail in case I need to secure. Oops. So this is kind of difficult when you're using cotton yarn. It can sometimes be a bit difficult to handle, but that's okay. So there we go. There we go. There we go. So I've just secured this. What I am probably going to be doing is going back into each one of these handles here with extra stitches, just because this is where all the weight of the bag is going to be. So you do want that part to be very well secured. So this side is quite well secured, if that makes sense, because obviously we've gone through twice. But again, Like I said, I just want to make sure it's well and truly secure. So I'm just going to sew it in slightly more, just to make sure it's okay, and just go and sew this in well, like this, and then tie it again. I'm just going to add an extra knot gently because you don't want it to bunch up, and there we go. And what I am going to do, I've left all my loose ends on the inside of the bag because I will be lining it. So I'm just going to leave the loose ends because obviously once you line the bag, it hides the loose ends. What you are going to be doing, well, what I am going to be doing for sure, is securing this part, because obviously this is very loose. This is where we started our handle. So I'm just going to sew this in. As you can see, I've gone through a few stitches there, gently again. So there we go. And I'm just going to secure this part of the handle to secure this part. Oh gosh, I feel like I'm rambling. Please forgive me. Yes, so you just go ahead and do this, repeat the exact same process on the other side, because obviously we do want 2 handles for this bag. So just go ahead and repeat this process. And yes, once you've done the second handle, I'll get back to you to show you how to finish off this project. Okay, so I'm back and I finished both my handles. Please ignore all the loose ends. This is the inside of the bag. I'm just going to turn the bag on the right side on camera. So I'm really excited about how this looks. I'm really happy about this bag. I just think it looks so pretty and so perfect. Obviously, I will be lining this bag, and I will be linking in the down bar my how to line a crochet bag video, which has been pretty successful over time. So it's a really good video if you want to line your bag, either hand sewing or machine sewing, whichever you prefer. And now that we've finished this, I would like to add a tassel to my bag. So this is optional. You don't have to do this, but I really want to do this. So I'm just going to briefly add a tassel. I want it to be this mint green color. I'm just going to grab grab this book that I have. It's just my crochet pattern book. And I am going to create a tassel. So to create a tassel, we are going to be, this is very almost off the cuff, but yeah, this is how I'm going to be doing my tassel. I want it to be quite thick because obviously there's only going to be one tassel on this project. So I'm going around multiple times, as you can see, around this book. There we go, with this color. As I said, this is completely optional. You do not need to add a tassel to your bag. I just think it will look really nice if I do, and I want it to look extra fluffy. There we go. I might go around once or twice more. There we go. I'm just going to remove the bag so that it doesn't get damaged. There we go. I'm snipping this off. I'm taking off this. This is really off the cuff, really not, yeah. Sorry, this part is, so I've taken one piece of yarn like this that I've snipped off, and I'm going to pop it through like this, delicately, and I am going to create a knot like so. There we go. And this is what we have. So now what I am going to be doing is I'm going to lay this flat because it might be easier. How am I gonna? I'm just gonna cut the bottom part here. So just go ahead and cut this part. We will be trimming this at the end of the tassel process, so don't worry if it's not 100% straight. This is what we have. I still have a piece that's stuck together. There we go. I'm going to take another longer piece of yarn. I'm going to snip off this. There we go. And I am going to tie this at about one inch from the top of the tassel. So just go ahead and go across and tie it like this to create a little kind of bulky part at the top of the tassel. And what we are going to be doing to make it look nice is we are going to be going around this tassel a few times with this part. Okay, there we go. Just to make it look nice, I'm going to use the other piece also. There we go. There we go. And I'm going to tie it gently. There we go. Gently tying it like this a few times. There we go. And I'm just going to leave this as part of the tassel. And now I am simply going to be trimming this tassel. Okay, so I've gone to get my professional sewing scissors, which need a good clean actually. And anyways, I'm just gonna I'm going to trim this. I might do this off camera because it's hard, I find, to do it on camera, but just go ahead and trim it. So I'm back and I've got my tassel and I'm just looking at where I'm going to tie it. I think I might just tie it here on the front. There we go, like this. There we go. I'm just going to simply tie a knot, see how this looks. There we go. And I'm just going to pop these inside the bag just to see what this looks like. Does this look good? Yeah, I'm pretty happy with how this looks. What I will be doing probably is securing this tassel even better than I've already done. And then I am going to line it, so I'm probably going to secure these loose ends inside the lining that I'm going to create. But for now, I'm really pleased with how this looks. I'm really excited. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you did, and don't forget to like my video and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching and see you next week.